you have been told an untruth. If you've done any research about Buenos Aires, you've been told this is Paris of South America. And there's no place like Paris than here in the Recoleta cemetery. But the fact of the matter is that even though Recoleta looks like Paris, there's so much more to Buenos Aires. Between areas like Boca and Puerto and so many more neighborhoods, this city is extremely vibrant and full of life. So don't think you're just going to see Paris when you come here. Follow along by day and let me show you why this is definitely more exciting than Paris. So we just squished our 5 bags in the car, and what's always nice is when you travel with private drivers and guides, this is what happens. As soon as you get in the car, there's water, there's snacks, and that just makes this whole experience so much better than riding one of those.
We are living now at the international airport. No matter where, from where are you coming to our country, you must arrive here, and then you can go to another province. Maybe you saw in your tag that it says EC. It's related with the department where it's located. Ezeiza department. We are now in Buenos Aires province, going to Buenos Aires city, that is our national capital. So your hotel is located in Palermo neighborhood, a neighborhood that is in the north part of the city. From here we have 34 kilometers to the hotel.
I love the little things like this. So here we are, we're in our car, and they've just given us this cute little pack. I mean, they don't have to do this. They could say that, hey, just keep up with your itinerary. But they give us this cute little pack, and our itinerary for the whole trip is printed out inside. And so we'll know exactly what's going to happen and where we're going to go and what we're going to do, and it's all mapped out. This is the type of thing that helps make the trips just really kind of cool. Let me explain. Ashley, our guide, just handed us one of these, and these are awesome. You have to track these down in Buenos Aires. They're what I call the closest to, if you've ever had a molten lava cake that is cold, it's crossed between a molten lava cake and a moon pie. So it's a great dense on the inside. It's dipped in chocolate. And then it's usually got caramel or good stuff like a molten lava cake on the inside. These are wonderful and a treat from Buenos Aires. Yum.
So, hello, this avenue is called Corrientes Avenue, and we know it as the avenue that never sleeps. It's our little Broadway, you know? Well, now it's very early in the morning, but if you come here in the evening, it's going to be an explosion of color, lights, and everything, because it's the avenue of the theaters and the pizza places that we call pizzeria.
Look behind you. This is actually the obelisk. It was actually built in 1936, and the people hated the time. But it was to show the center of the town, which is actually not the center of the town. But this is the cool thing, that if you ever see any pictures of Buenos Aires, this is it. So we are now starting right what they consider the center. We're off to go have some fun. So this is Plaza de Mayo, or like it looks like when we look at it, that's Plaza de Mayo. What it is this is the center of Buenos Aires. This is the oldest area, and this is where all the government's housed. So you have the original styles that were a post office here, and then this was the original palace, and then you have the governor's house, and you have the bank. One of the presidents decided that he needed to have a main palace, so they built the arch right here and connected the two buildings. That's why the buildings are not symmetric, as they originally were not two buildings. This window right there is actually where Eva Perón did her speech, and Madonna did the singing of the movie. It has always been a very important place where the government actually spoke to the people who would be in the plaza doing protests or wanting to hear information. Why the palace is actually pink. One, whenever they built it, they decided that it needed to stand out amazingly. Well, the fact of the matter is that the White Palace already existed in D.C., so they had to do something different. And because of the humidity, they needed to do something with lime. So what did they do? They took the blood from the slaughters, mixed with the lime, and now we have a pink palace. It actually is now a recorded Patone color that is only used by the Casa de Rosario here in Buenos Aires. But this originally was because of lime and blood. That's how we got the pink. Let me tell you about these scarves that are down here. These are head scarves. And as a mama, this really touched me. So the mamas, this stands for the mothers of Plaza de Mayo. And what happened during the last dictatorship is the mothers of the people who stood up against the government actually came down here to the plaza. And when they were down here, there were a lot of protests to find out about their family. So what they did is they actually tied the headscarves around their head as protest so the public could see, and they walked this circle. And they were looking for information about their family. The story gets even deeper as far as mama. So the people that disappeared were taken by the dictatorship and were actually tortured and killed. And some of the people that were killed and tortured were actually pregnant women. So what the military did was they allowed those babies to be born, and then they killed the mothers and then put the babies with the families of military and never told them their history. And all these people that were killed down here, they actually took them and put them on death planes and flew their bodies over the river and dumped their bodies in the river so that their families can never find out what truly happened to them. And now here in Argentina, there's a process where they're trying to help those babies of the people that protested find their families. And there's a whole DNA project, and they're finding now as many as 150 of these babies. So not only is this the mothers of Plaza de Mocho, there's now the grandmothers of Plaza de Mocho. And the ones that are still around still come and walk. And that is just, as a mama, that's hard to hear. I'm standing right now in the Metropolitan Cathedral. This is the main church here in Buenos Aires and probably in Argentina. Look at this gorgeous structure. This is straight out of Baroque in Europe, and it's just amazing. And okay, I give you, this is what looks like Paris.
This is the next neighborhood we're exploring here in Buenos Aires, and this is Puerto Madero. And this was a port for 10 years and it failed as a port. So what they decided to do in 95, they made it into an ultra modern area where there's the most expensive apartments in all of Buenos Aires. But they kept these cranes that are behind me to actually add to the culture and history of the area. This is part of what makes Buenos Aires be its own city and its own uniqueness. You see these locks here? I know it's romantic to put a lock on the bridges around the world, and this is happening everywhere, a big trend. Don't do this. We're destroying our amazing cities because every one of these locks has a lot of weight, and then it breaks the structure. And especially on some of the big bridges that we do, you literally are breaking iron and pretty things that have been there for hundreds of years by doing a trend. So don't leave your footprint, leave your memories. So now we're down in Comanito. This is the neighborhood of color and tango and experiences down here in Buenos Aires. One thing to note, this is a huge place for all the crews to come and show off. So this is another area where you need to grab actually a private guide and let them show you around because they're getting us back in the nooks and crannies that we would never see with those buses. But as you see, color, amazing, great neighborhood, full of fun. There's actually tango people behind me. They're doing dances, things like that. Come spend some time and experience this neighborhood.
This guy, he's the reason that La Boca looks the way that it does. He was a dock worker, he was an artist. He's the one that came with the idea of painting the La Boca these colors and making it famous. So it was a joint effort between the government, this guy, and the paint factory, and now we have this amazing, colorful neighborhood.
This is a competition. What this would have been was built for the immigrants. They took the stuff from the shipyard, which is the wood and the metal, and they made these big house structures. The fact of the matter is that they would have been a family in each room, one kitchen and one bathroom. So each room could have 7, 10, 12 people with family in them, and they all had to share the one bathroom and one kitchen. So think about 100 people sharing one bathroom. But this is how they live down here in La Boca. This is impressive. This is an asada area down here in La Boca, and I'm going to show you how this really works. This is really kind of cool how they grill. So this is the tree up north, it's cabracho. They mix it with charcoal. This is how they get the flavor of Argentinian grilling. Then they come over and they do everything slow. So this is asada, which is like your big hunks of beef, which are going to be cut up in either steaks or wonderful things to eat that way.
Then they, of course, don't let anything go to waste. So this is your random kind of squishy parts of the cow on the inside, like colon and things we don't want to talk about because that's definitely not my thing. Then we end up with the great sausages that are here, the chorizo. And this is going to be stuffed inside intestine, but have such good flavors and spices. And once you get to see how they make it, then you actually get to go in there and sit in a nice little garden and actually enjoy how these things taste. This is the restaurant that's El Pasado. So down here in La Boca, I really can recommend y'all coming down and try it. The staff's been very nice and showing me around, and I guarantee the asada down here is gonna be to die for. So this is La Camita. This is the colorful street that's the most famous street down here in La Boca. And the crowds come, but what's nice is this El Paiso restaurant that's up here with all the trees. They have a great bar area where you can sit up here and enjoy the experience, but not be down in that. So I really recommend finding this place and enjoying the food here. Now you know how we watched all the asada being cooked out there? Now we have to taste it. So this is a pan chorizo, which means it's sausage inside of bread. And I'm gonna get rid of the big old hunk of bread for a second because it's all about the meat. Very good. You've got to have one of these here in La Boca. Carolina's going to make mata for us, but this is their version down here in Buenos Aires of coffee, and this is how we're going to do it. You don't go buy it in a restaurant or made. You actually make it for yourself and travel around with it all day long. So this is hot water. This is the container with the straw. The herbs are going to go down here, and her herbs wander around in a bag that look like this. So it's all kind of a truly local cultural experience we're going to get to try.
Okay, so it's like this. And now, when you try?
Sure.
Okay. I don't want to see your face when you try.
It feels like, tastes like I'm eating a piece of grass in the backyard.
Yes, it is.
It's not bad, but it's not great. Sugar would help a lot.
Thank you.
This is the school named after the guy who founded La Boca with all the colors, the artisan. And this is the infamous sidewalk. This used to be the market of the immigrants, and they had little stores that were metal that looked like this. Well, now this area has been turned into restaurants and cute little boutiques and things for the locals to come and gather and enjoy. Chocolate store. Okay, so picture this. This was a wealthy house that was built by an impressive family here in Argentina. And then yellow fever hit. So they moved up north and literally just left this gorgeous house behind. And then the immigrants moved in, and it's like what down in La Boca, that each room became for a family, and they all share the same kitchen and the same toilets in this luxury, but also squished all together. This has been voted the most beautiful bookstore in the world. It originally was a theater here in Buenos Aires, and then it was a couple of things, and eventually it was bought by a chain. And now they've turned an amazing, beautiful theater into a place where people could come read, enjoy coffee, and if they want to, they can buy a book.
Truly amazing way they've saved a gorgeous building.
We're down here in the Recoleta Cemetery, and this is actually a public cemetery that holds 6,000 mausoleums. In the 1880s, what they did is it was just a normal cemetery. They changed around and made it this beautiful place that it is now. So big time people like landowners and media people and politicians are all buried here, and their families still maintain them. Even Perón's down here. And what's interesting is that the families still have to maintain their mausoleums. If they don't, then either the government takes them over or they can resell them. Isn't that amazing? You can actually resell your mausoleum. But look at the beauty of these statues, the architects, the engineers, the artisans that were designed and used for inside this place. It's just absolutely amazing.
He took part of the independence wars. He became the first admiral of our navy. And this one made in rocks is made with rocks from the Andes Mountains and used to belong to Tomás Guido, another general of the independence and personal friend of our liberator José de San Martín.
Even though this place is an icon of beauty down here in Recoleta, it's still the job of the families to maintain mausoleums. And if you don't pay and maintain it every month, this is what's happened. The city allows it to fall apart, they block it off, and this is where you rest in eternity, in rubble. So make sure if you come do something like this, your family can pay the bill. You're rich, you're famous, you want to have an impressive funeral, but your family doesn't have a mausoleum down here, no problem. You actually can rent one of these mausoleums for the family for the day, have your ceremony down here, have your body or your ashes put inside the crypt, and then they come back and take you out. So it's like a rent-a mausoleum for an amazing ceremony if you need to have one. This is the final resting place of Vita Perón. She is actually one of the most powerful women ever in politics here in Buenos Aires. And the fact of the matter is that even all this time since she's died, she is still a factor in politics.
This lady that is called Rufina Cambaceres was a very young lady of a wealthy family, and she was in love with a very well-known politician of our country that used to be Hipólito Yrigoyen before he was president. But one day she realized that her mother was in love with that man too, and they were actually lovers. So in a very terrible argument, they were very angry one with each other, and she fainted and she died. But were supposed to be there. She was not dead properly. She suffered a catalepsy attack. So she was buried alive, and when they discovered that they buried her alive in our country, the funeral service started to be 48 hours before being buried properly.
So this is the flower, the infamous flower that's here in Buenos Aires, and it was a gift from a local artisan, and it's supposed to move with the lights and things like that, but the problem is when it was originally designed, the petals were too heavy, and so the mechanisms didn't work very well. Then, a couple months ago, they had a storm and it broke one of the petals again. So this is one of those things that was a good gift at one point, and it is a very pretty structure, but the city is now stuck maintaining this, and so it's controversial in this area, but it's fun to come by and see. And oh yes, I'm on the outside because it's locked today, so as a tourist, I'm having to adapt because I can't actually get in today.
Time for us to leave Buenos Aires and head to northern Argentina and the next part of our adventure. If you're curious about what we actually have done over these last few weeks, just open the comments below. There's a free e-doc that's going to tell you all about our adventure in details, how to plan one, anything you want to know about visiting Argentina.